The forgotten signal, the dying star pulsed weakly in the darkness. Its light flickered like a candle ready to go out. Around it, space was silent, cold, empty. But then, something changed. A signal. Faint, broken, ancient. It came from deep inside, the star's burning heart, something that should have been impossible. For over 5 million years, no one had picked it up. No one had even known it was there, until now. A research ship called the Whispering Light, operated by a small alien crew from the Valari Science Guild, was scanning the star for study. They were expecting gases, radiation, and data, not a signal. Not this. Captain Tarn Valari, a tall insectoid with silver-blue skin, stared at the screen. His large black eyes narrowed. "This is not natural," he said quietly. "Play it again." The signal repeated. It was a strange, rhythmic pulse like code, but in a language lost to time. In between the sounds, there was something else. A voice. It spoke just one word. Humanity. The crew looked at each other. Some whispered. Others stepped back from their stations. That word hadn't been spoken in this part of the galaxy for thousands, maybe millions of years. It was a myth. A story to scare children, humans. "No species by that name is in our records," said the ship's AI, cross-referencing ancient legends, matching pattern, high threat classification, level, extinct or ascended. "Extinct," Tarn muttered. "Then what is this?" They traced the signal to the center of the star, but there was no way to reach it. Any ship that entered the star would burn up in seconds. Unless, "Sir," called a young technician, "the core is not natural. There's a structure inside, and it's not burning. It's protected by a field." The screen showed the impossible. Inside the dying star was a giant object, or maybe many, shapes like claws, wings, and towers. It looked like a fleet of ships frozen in time. Huge, ancient, silent. Tarn stood frozen. "Is this a trap?" No one answered. 2 weeks later, a group of elite recovery ships from the Helix Dominion arrived. They used advanced tunneling tech to open a path through the star's surface. It held just long enough for drones to enter. What they found shocked everyone. The objects were not just ships. They were warships, colossal and deadly. The kind of ships that could destroy entire fleets, alone, and they were marked with strange writing on their hulls. The AI translated it slowly. It said, "Property of the Terran Defense Armada. Class Starbreaker." More writing appeared. "Humanity First, Earth Eternal." The name Earth made no sense to most of the alien scientists. But the older ones, the ones who still studied ancient things, looked pale or terrified. "They were real," whispered a historian. The legends were true. One such legend told of a race called humans who came from a blue planet near the edge of the galaxy. They rose fast, too fast, built ships too strong, fought wars too big, and then vanished. Some believed they had destroyed themselves. Others believed they had left, gone somewhere beyond the stars. But no one expected this. Warships hidden inside a star, waiting. One drone connected to a control panel on the closest ship. A message appeared on the research team's screens. Rebooting. "Systems online. Stand by for Terran command." Suddenly, the ship's lights came on. The engines hummed. Power surged through ancient circuits. Then all the ships started to glow. The star around them trembled. The temperature changed, the light shifted. "Shut them down," Tarn shouted. But it was too late. The warships were waking up. Far across the galaxy, in hidden places, old machines began to move. Old codes started to unlock. Deep inside ancient archives, forgotten files whispered back to life. On dozens of planets, sensors picked up the same message, repeating from the dying star, "Humanity returns." Panic spread fast. Governments called emergency meetings. Fleets were put on alert. Some species tried to hide. Others prepared for war. Because every race knew one thing. If the humans were back, the galaxy would never be the same again. Galaxy holds its breath. The message spread like fire through the stars. Humanity returns. No one knew what it truly meant, but the fear was real. The name humanity had not been spoken in truth for millions of years. It was a warning hidden in myths, a shadow in forgotten records. Now that shadow was awake. Across the galaxy, leaders gathered in secret chambers. Fleets were armed, borders were closed. Even empires that hated each other stopped fighting for a moment, because something worse had come back. In the center of this storm was Captain Zoran Vare, a warrior from the powerful Helix Dominion. His ship, the Iron Wind, had been ordered to approach the star and investigate the warships. Zoran was a veteran. He had seen death and war. But when he looked at the Terran ships floating inside the star, a cold chill passed through his heart. "They don't look like machines," he said softly. "They look like beasts waiting to hunt again." The ancient ships were waking up slowly. One by one, they were powering up. Engines hummed. Armor shifted. Lights flickered inside dark halls. Still no humans. Only silence. Watching. Waiting. Zoran sent a boarding drone into the largest ship. Its name, according to scans, was TDS Vengeance. The drone entered a massive hangar. Everything inside was dark metal, still untouched by time. No rust, no decay. Just cold, silent power. Suddenly, the drone's feed went black. A few seconds later, a message appeared on the screen. "You are not authorized." Then something strange happened. The ship sent a signal back to Iron Wind, but not in any modern language. It was old. Dead. The Dominion's AI worked hard to translate it. The message was short. "You are close enough. Enter." Zoran's crew warned him not to go, but he felt something, a pull, like the ship knew him. He stepped into a landing pod and descended into the warship alone. The inside of the ship felt alive. Lights turned on as he walked. Doors opened before he touched them. It was like the ship recognized him. He reached what looked like a command room. A chair sat in the center. Screens around it lit up as he entered. Then a voice spoke. Deep. Calm. Powerful. "Welcome, Terran Strain Genetic Match. You are 32% compatible. Command functions, limited." Zoran froze. "Terran Strain? What does that mean?" he asked. The voice replied, "You are not human, but your species carries fragments. You were made in their image." 1,000 questions filled his mind, but the ship didn't wait. It activated a hologram. Zoran saw visions, blurry images of ancient humans fighting strange enemies in the stars, massive battles, planet-sized ships, a final war, and then nothing. The humans vanished. The last thing Zoran saw was a fleet, this fleet, entering a star. To sleep. The hologram ended. The ship spoke again. "We were told to sleep until the call came. The call has come." Zoran felt the room shake. From orbit, his crew saw it too. All Terran ships inside the star began moving, but they weren't preparing to leave. They were aiming their weapons at deep space. Back at Dominion Command, an emergency message arrived from a distant part of the galaxy. A strange energy was detected moving through the void. Something massive, not from any known species. Threat? A signal? Nobody knew. But the ancient warships were waking up for a reason. The humans had left them behind for something. Something that was coming back now. In the final moments of Part 2, the screen flickers with a cryptic message from the Terran ship, HFY. "You are reading this as you are already in danger. Do not run, do not fight, prepare." Memories from Stone Captain Zoran stood still inside the command chamber of the human warship. The air was cold, yet the lights around him glowed softly. Ancient machines moved slowly, as if they were waking up from a long, deep sleep. Then, the floor opened. A circular platform rose from beneath. At its center was a tall stone tablet, covered in strange marks and glowing blue lines. It looked out of place inside this high-tech warship, like a piece of ancient Earth buried in the stars. Zoran reached out and touched it. Suddenly, the world around him changed. He was no longer inside the warship. He stood in a memory. The hologram showed a world of oceans and cities, Earth, bright and full of life. Humans walked the streets in uniforms and armor, skies filled with massive ships. Children played under floating banners marked with the symbol of the Terran Defense Armada. Zoran watched in silence. The memory shifted. Now Earth was burning. Massive alien creatures, dark as shadows and made of energy, were attacking cities. Nothing could stop them, not even the strongest weapons. But the humans didn't run. They fought back. They built ships, faster, smarter, deadlier than anything the galaxy had ever seen. They united every nation on Earth and sent a message to the stars. We are not afraid. We will stand, even if it kills us. Zoran felt goosebumps across his skin. The memory changed again. Now he stood on a battlefield in space. Hundreds of warships surrounded one of the shadow creatures. It was the size of a moon. The humans were losing, but they kept attacking. One by one they fell, but in the end, they won. And then, just like that, the humans vanished. Zoran gasped as the memory faded. He was back inside the ship. The voice returned. These are the memories left behind. You were chosen to see them. Others will follow. Zoran stepped back. He couldn't believe what he had seen. How did they win, he asked. The ship replied, they gave everything. Their bodies, their minds, their world, to stop the enemy. Zoran's hands trembled. Then why did they hide? The voice grew quiet. Because it was not over. The enemy was not dead, only sleeping. Meanwhile, far across the galaxy, on the ancient archive planet Dravis 6, a young alien historian named Yelna was decoding old records. Her computer had just translated a lost language fragment found in a crashed satellite. The words made her heart stop. When the stars grow quiet and the old warships rise, humanity will return. They will return because what they sealed is waking up. Back inside the warship, Zoran stared at a glowing map. It showed the entire galaxy. But then, one by one, red marks began to appear. Danger signals. Something was moving in the void. Not fleets, not armies, but something alive. The ship's voice echoed one final warning. You must choose, Zoran. When the humans return, will you fear them or follow them? The screen dimmed. The silence returned. But deep inside the galaxy, the war drums of an ancient enemy had begun to beat once again. The great lie for a long time, the galaxy believed that humans were a myth. But that was not true. Some species knew. Some leaders had seen the signs. And some had tried to erase them. In the icy halls of the Galactic Union Archive, deep below the capital planet Quora Prime, Elder Myrix Vol walked slowly down a dark tunnel. He held a small cube in his hand. It pulsed with light, soft and red. The cube was illegal, forbidden. Burn on contact if discovered. But Elder Myrix had kept it hidden for 600,000 years. He knew this day would come. He placed the cube inside a glowing socket. The walls lit up, showing old symbols, human symbols. A secret record began to play. A human voice spoke calmly. If you are hearing this, then the seal is broken. The enemy is near. And so are we. You were warned. You did not listen. Myrix closed his eyes. He remembered it all now. 600,000 years ago, when humanity disappeared, the surviving leaders of the galaxy met in secret. They were afraid, not just of the humans, but of what was chasing them. The humans had fought the enemy. They had beaten it, but just barely. To stop it, the humans had locked their warships in dying stars, silent, sleeping. But they also gave one final order to the galaxy's rulers. Do not search for us. Do not wake us. If the enemy rises again, we will return. The rulers agreed, but soon they became greedy. 100,000 years later, a secret order called the Veil Council was formed. Their mission: erase all records of humans, rewrite history, destroy every sign of Earth. They feared that if people remembered humans, someone might try to bring them back. And if the humans came back, so would the enemy. Elder Myrix had once served that council. He had helped destroy books, silence scholars, and erase entire civilizations that still remembered Earth. He had kept this secret for ages, but now the warships were waking up, and Myrix knew the lie was ending. Meanwhile, Captain Zoran sat alone inside the human warship TDS Vengeance. The ship's AI showed him a hidden log, one left by the last human commander. The hologram showed a tired man in a black uniform. He spoke quietly. "We left this fleet behind as a shield. We hoped it would never be needed. If you've found this, the darkness has returned, and so must we. But be warned, not all in the galaxy were your friends. Some chose silence, some chose power, and now they will choose fear." Back on Quora Prime, panic was growing. The Helix Dominion had released news of the warships, but they did not mention the humans. They called them ancient Terran weapons and warned that they were dangerous, too dangerous to be allowed to awaken. They wanted to seize the ships, even destroy them, but not everyone agreed. On a small moon called Thesa 9, a rebel group called the Rememberers sent a message across the galaxy. It was a simple video showing the words, "Earth was real, humans were real, and they fought for all of us." Millions of beings saw the message. Many were shocked, some were angry, but some were inspired. And among them, in the darkest corners of space, other old warships began to stir. Warships hidden by humans, in places no one remembered. They were waking up too. As Part 4 ends, a fleet of Dominion destroyers heads toward the star system where TDS Vengeance sleeps. Captain Zoran watches from the bridge. He knows what's coming, and he knows the biggest war is no longer just between stars. It's between truth and lies. Rise of the Forgotten Fleet. The galaxy watched in silence. All eyes turned toward the star system, now glowing with strange energy. Inside its heart, the ancient Terran fleet was no longer sleeping. It was waking up. One by one, the massive ships turned toward deep space. Their engines rumbled like thunder even though no sound could travel in the void. Shields powered up, weapons locked into place. But none of them fired. They were waiting for a signal. Aboard the Dominion destroyer, Spear of Glory, Admiral Kel Tor stood tall on the command deck. He stared at the Terran fleet, a cold expression on his face. "We can't allow these machines to rise," he growled. "They are not weapons. They are extinction engines." His officers looked uneasy. "But sir," one said softly, "they haven't attacked." Kel Tor ignored him. "Prepare missiles. Begin approach." Meanwhile, inside TDS Vengeance, Captain Zoran felt the deck hum beneath his feet. The ship's voice returned. Terran fleet systems fully operational. A glowing screen showed dozens of icons, each representing a human warship. Their names were short and terrifying. TDS, Hammerfall TDS, Oblivion TDS, Ashmaker TDS, Mercy's End Zoran swallowed hard. "What are they waiting for?" he asked. The AI replied, "A command, from one with Terran code." Zoran looked down at his hand. It still glowed faintly from the first scan. He didn't know how or why, but part of him had been accepted. The AI spoke again. "You are not human, but you carry a spark. You may speak for them, for now." Zoran stepped toward the command chair. He gave a single word, "Rise." Across the system, the entire Terran fleet powered up. Engines flared blue. The warships began to move, but not toward the Dominion. They moved outward, surrounding the star system like a protective ring. Then, from each ship, came a beam of light, linking together in a perfect circle. It was not a weapon. It was a shield. A voice echoed across the stars, broadcast in every known language. "We are the Terran Defense Fleet. Final protocol has been activated. This system is now under Guardian lock. Do not approach. Do not interfere. If you enter, you will not leave." On Quora Prime, Panic spread like wildfire. The Dominion called it a threat. The Union feared a war. But others began to hope. On distant mining colonies and quiet trade moons, people whispered the word humans like a prayer. Tales returned of how they once fought for the weak, protected the lost, and stood against the darkness when no one else would. Could they be coming back? Back on TDS Vengeance, Zoran stood quietly. He didn't feel like a hero. He felt like a messenger. He knew something bigger was coming, not just war, not just truth, but a return. And somewhere, far beyond the edge of the galaxy, a signal was answered. In the final moment of Part 5, deep in the dark, beyond known space, a cold and ancient eye opened. It was not human, and it remembered everything. Shadows. Beyond the stars, the galaxy had forgotten fear. It remembered war. It remembered conflict. But true fear, the kind that made stars seem cold, had faded over time. That fear was about to return. Far beyond the edge of the galaxy, past the last known systems, past the places even light was afraid to go, something moved. It had no name, no voice, no shape that could be understood. It had slept for 1,000,000 years, sealed by human hands during the last Great War. But now, it was awake. Inside the Terran fleet's core system, Captain Zoran walked the halls of TDS Vengeance. The ship was fully alive now. Screens pulsed with ancient data. Maps glowed with red alerts spreading like cracks through the stars. The ship's AI spoke. Disturbance detected. Sector X0 outside the galactic boundary. Unknown origin, unknown energy signature. Zoran frowned. Is it one of ours? No. It's one of theirs. Zoran's blood ran cold. The enemy? Worse. It's what they were running from. In a hidden chamber deep within the ship, Zoran found something new. A sealed vault. As he stepped close, it scanned his hand and opened. Inside, a small cube floated in the air. A message began to play. A woman's voice, strong and calm, spoke. To the one who wakes our fleet. We are the last defenders of life. If this message plays, then the shadows have moved again. But there's something you must know. The war we fought, we did not win. Zoran leaned closer, his heart pounding. We locked the enemy outside the galaxy, yes, but to do that, we gave them something. Earth. The cube dimmed. Zoran stood frozen. Had Earth not been destroyed, but sacrificed? Given to the enemy, as a prison? Suddenly it made sense. The humans had disappeared, their world gone from every chart, every memory. Not because it was lost, but because it had become a barrier, a cage. Back in Dominion space, Admiral Keltor slammed his fist into the table. Send more fleets. If we don't stop the Terran rise now, they'll bring back what we buried. An aide whispered. Sir, what if it's already coming? Keltor's eyes narrowed. There were rumors, ships vanishing, stars flickering out, and a single word found scratched on an escape pod from a destroyed station. Earth is bleeding. Elsewhere, a small science vessel called Luna's Breath entered a dead zone near the galactic edge. The crew had tracked an ancient human beacon, one never seen before. What they found was a planet, floating in black space, half covered in shadow. Its surface cracked like glass. No name, no light. But on one mountain stood a single, unbroken tower, and carved in its stone was a forgotten language. Terra Prime. Do not open the door. As Part 6 ends, Zoran receives a final transmission, a ghostly signal, barely a whisper, cutting through static. It repeats the same line, again and again. We are still here, but we are not alone. The return of Earth. The galaxy trembled. From the far edge of known space, a planet had returned. Terra Prime. Earth. But it was not the Earth the legend spoke of. This Earth was cracked, wounded, surrounded by shadows that twisted space. Something terrible had happened here. And something even worse was still inside. Captain Zoran stood on the bridge of TDS Vengeance, watching the live feed. Earth floated in the darkness, half dead, half glowing with strange blue veins like it was alive or infected. The ship's AI spoke softly. Planet matches 98.7% of Terran historical data. Atmospheric breach detected, containment failing. Zoran frowned. Containment? Yes. Earth was not destroyed. It became a vault, a prison, to hold the enemy inside. Now the enemy was waking, and Earth's final lock was breaking. Across the galaxy, panic spread. The Dominion called for full invasion. Destroy Earth before the darkness spreads. The Union was divided. Some wanted peace, others demanded war. But in hidden places, billions of beings whispered the name human with hope and fear. On the surface of Earth, inside the lone black tower, a door opened for the first time in 600,000 years. Out stepped a figure. Not machine, not ghost. Human. Her name was Commander Sarah Talon. She was the last of the Terran Guardians kept in stasis inside the tower. Her armor was cracked. Her eyes glowed faint blue, connected to the world beneath her feet. She sent out a signal that reached every ship in the galaxy. Her voice was tired, but unbroken. I am Sarah Talon, lastborn of Earth, keeper of the seal. You were told to forget us. You were told we were gone. But we never left. We became the wall that held the dark outside your stars. Now that wall is falling. Aboard TDS Vengeance, Zoran watched in silence. His ship connected directly to the Earth signal. It pulsed with an old Terran code. Decision required. Activate. Protocol Omega. Zoran asked the AI, "What is Omega Protocol?" The AI answered, "Total recall of human consciousness. Restoration of Earth's original state. Full awakening of Terran species. At a cost." Zoran's eyes widened. What cost? The vault will open. The enemy will be free. But so will we. All around the galaxy, ancient Terran ships now drifted into position. From deep space, more came, forgotten fleets, ships with names lost to time, each one lighting up, waiting for the signal. Commander Sarah stood at the heart of the tower. The ground shook. Cracks spread. A black mist tried to rise, but the tower's shields held it back. She looked up at the sky, whispering, "Come home." Zoran stepped into the command chair. The fleet listened to him now. He took a deep breath and gave the command, "Activate Omega." The stars pulsed. Every Terran ship sent a final message into the galaxy. This is not the end. This is the return. Humanity remembers. The Earth exploded in light, not destruction, but rebirth. The black mist was pulled in, the skies cleared, the tower shattered. And from beneath it, a city of crystal and steel rose up, Earth's true capital, and around it stood humans. Real, awake, millions of them. The last generation, now reborn. As the galaxy watched, a new message played. We do not come to rule. We come to protect. The silence is over. Earth has returned. Let the stars remember who we are.